Alright, let's start with this. If there's one motorcycle that doesn't need an introduction but still manages to surprise people every time it gets updated, it's the Suzuki Hayabusa 2026, and the interesting thing about this bike is that it doesn't try to chase trends, it stays true to what it has always been, a high-speed, long-distance machine that feels just as comfortable cruising across states as it does opening up on a straight stretch of road. And when you first look at it, that iconic shape is still there, smooth, aerodynamic, and instantly recognizable, but the small refinements in this version make it feel more modern without losing its identity, and that's something a lot of riders in the US really appreciate, because this isn't just a bike you ride, it's a bike you connect with over time, and once you get on it, the riding position might surprise you, because despite its aggressive look, it's actually quite comfortable, the seat is supportive, the bars are positioned in a way that doesn't strain your wrists too much, and overall it feels like something you could genuinely spend hours on, which is exactly what this bike is built for, long highway rides where you just settle into the rhythm and let the miles pass by, and when you start riding, the engine is where everything comes together, it's smooth, powerful, and incredibly refined, it doesn't feel jumpy or unpredictable, instead it builds speed in a way that feels controlled and effortless, and that's what makes it so addictive, because you're not fighting the bike, you're flowing with it, and even at higher speeds, it feels stable and planted, almost like it's glued to the road, which gives you a level of confidence that's hard to explain until you experience it, and that stability becomes even more important on long American highways where you're covering serious distances, and the suspension setup plays its role quietly in the background, soaking up imperfections and keeping the ride smooth, so you don't feel beaten up after a long ride, and when it comes to handling, for a bike of this size and purpose, it's surprisingly manageable, it doesn't feel as heavy or intimidating as you might expect, and once you get used to it, it becomes very predictable, very easy to trust. And that trust is what really matters when you're riding something this powerful, and then you have the electronics, which have come a long way compared to older versions, things like riding modes, traction control, quick shifter, and a clean display are all there, but they don't get in your way, they just sit in the background and support you when you need them. And that balance between raw performance and modern assistance is what keeps the Hayabusa relevant even today, and visually, it still has that presence. It's not the sharpest or most aggressive design out there, but it has its own personality, something that stands apart from typical sport bikes, and when you see it on the road, you know exactly what it is, and overall, the Suzuki Hayabusa 2026 doesn't try to reinvent itself, and honestly, it doesn't need to, because it already does what it was designed to do extremely well. It delivers smooth, powerful performance, long-distance comfort, and a riding experience that feels unique in its own way, and for riders in the US who want a bike that can handle speed, comfort, and presence all in one package, this is still one of the most iconic and satisfying machines you can spend time with. And after riding something like this, you don't just remember the speed, you remember how effortless it all felt, and that's what really stays with you.